Okay, let's talk about another instance of the Greek hand in the Bible. This is a strange, small one, but it's one that once shown. It's one of those things that you can't not see it. It starts from the mysteries of Osiris. I firmly believe that the Greeks that were messing around in Alexandria and so on came upon all of this along with Pythagoras, and that's the Greek connection to this and their mystery schools that they had going on, and that's where it comes from. But strangely, it gets thrown in your Bible in a strange point. Let's get into this. In Plutarch on Osiris, it states in chapter 42 that the Egyptians have a legend that the end of Osiris's life came on the 17th day of the month, on which day is quite evident to the eye, or the learned person, that the period of the full moon had come and gone over. Now this is actually Passover. So this has another connection to later Jesus's Passover and its resurrection 3 days later. For the same thing happens to Osiris 3 days later. Because of this, the Pythagoreans call this day the barrier day and utterly abominate this number. For the number 17 coming in between the square 16 and the oblong rectangles 18, which as it happens are the only plane figures that have their parameters equal to their areas. It bars them off from each other and disjoins them, and breaks up the ratio of 8 to 8 and an 8 by its division into unequal intervals. It's also a prime number, and those are numbers which can't be divisible, and that just really irked the Pythagoreans. Certain ones were of course sacred, like pi and phi, but other numbers that were non-divisible seemed to be somewhat of an abomination. That's why we get a connection of threes quite often, and the connection of 3, 6, and 9, because in their gematria it goes up to 9, and then 10 is just 1 again. So you only have these numbers to choose from. It's strange, but this tale gets a little deeper here. It has connections to your Bible and ends up showing that in a strange way as we see this moonrise that's here. Now Osiris was another dying and resurrecting god, and was reborn and actually showed up back on earth, although that's debated as to whether he was not in his form or not. This has to do with the number 17. Now if you take a calculator or a piece of paper or a handful of pebbles, and you add 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7 plus 8 plus 9 plus 10 plus 11 plus 12 plus 13 plus 14 plus 15, you end up with a strange number of 153. This is another Pythagorean number. But strangely, how do you find it in your Bible? Well, it's another signification of the age of Pisces coming on. For it's right in Jesus' introduction, whenever he goes out to the fishermen, and we all know this story quite well, but when he goes out to the fishermen, they collect 153 fish. This is the barrier number. And why would they use that number? Is it just pulled out of the hat somewhere? Well, in a way it is. In a way it's just pulled out of the ether, if you will. For these sacred numbers that they had are there for a reason. So Jesus is signifying the age of Pisces that we're coming out, or out of the age of Aries, which was the lamb. So he's the thing that's in between that. Like the golden calf was in between that and Aries, that's the reason it's golden calves before. And then all of a sudden, whenever the age changes, Moses is pretty ticked off about golden calves, and they start doing rams and sheep. But of course, also there's people that are raising animals and so on, and goat farmers and things like that that's going on that makes these connections. But also it makes a connection to Capricorn, back to Enki and all kinds of things. But just in this one showing here of something that has to do with Jesus's first big miracle here, or maybe after the wedding, where he also multiplies fish. It's this thing that happens over and over again. Maybe you can see that that was the age of Pisces that we're coming out of now, and oddly enough, you have the age of fish in Pisces, which is the two fish, and the next one is Aquarius. If you think about it, fish go in an aquarium. We're in a water age. The waters are rising as high as they can. Hey, there were people that said this crap was going to go on a long time ago. Funny how that came to truth too. But so here we see another connection to a dying and rising God that really has sun connotations to it in the first place, sun worship. But also a Pythagorean number that's thrown in that seems to be a number picked just out of the air, but it's definitely not. And it shows you one more connection of that Greek hand that's in the Bible. Peace.